Atlantic Ocean, upon me hills, so for country. To educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah. Focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Foreign affairs. Reliable information. History. Ooh. Talking about culture. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this special edition of Focus on Liberia. You don't normally see this, but you want to see it tonight with Mr. Anthony C, our political bulldog, and me. We are going to have a special program tonight. The title is Accountability and Transparency. Okay, so tonight we turn our lens to accountability and transparency. Those are the two pillars that define whether a government truly serves the people. We'll examine three pressing issues that will tell us, that we'll use as the basis of discussing accountability and transparency. Number one, the long-promised Foya Polytechnic, still without a building after years in the national budget. Number two, foreign travels by government officials. They're costly, they're opaque, and rarely explained to citizens. And number three, the political activities of Deputy Speaker Thomas Fala and the emergence of the independent movement for Bwaka Nemo. Those are the three issues we're going to examine under the theme accountability and transparency. Mr. C, I know, welcome to the show.
Dennis, thank you. And it is good to be here. A pleasant welcome to our followers, those here in the diaspora and those who might be following in the homeland. Dennis put it very rightly. We will be looking at these few topics from the lens of accountability and transparency. And we are doing this because these two keywords are essential in providing governance that is accountable and it's transparent to the people of Liberia. And so I'm happy to be here. If you are just joining us, we want to say thank you for coming, and please hit that share button and share the broadcast with somebody, because I am going to be my best today. Dennis, let's do this.
And let's do it, and definitely you're going to get nothing but the best. All right. So as I said earlier, is transparency and accountability. So from public projects that exist only on paper to foreign travels shrouded in secrecy to political movements funded without disclosure, the questions are mounting, Mr. Sear. So our goal tonight is simple: to ask where the money goes, who makes the decision, and how citizens can demand answers. And I want to start, maybe you can call this a disclaimer, right? The show tonight is not about any particular administration. It's about those two keywords. And we can talk about them, those two words, accountability, transparency, and you can put on your thinking cap now and run it through administrations one after another and see whether we see that. So, Mr. CA, let's start with, I want us to start very simple. let's define what we're talking about. We say accountability. Accountability means that the people in position of public trust must explain, they must justify and take responsibility for their decisions, their actions, and the use of public resources. The people in position, they must explain, they must justify and take responsibility for their decision, their actions, and the use of public resources, regardless of who's president, regardless of who's minister, regardless of who's doing what. Mr. C, the definition of accountability still the same. Your thoughts?
Dennis, this is where now the discussions will actually be done within the lens of the two keywords that we talk about. Now, we are defining the words and we are starting with accountability. And as Dennis laid it out, and as you can see on the screen, what is actually accountability? The word itself will not have any bearing if it does not have meaning, because we can hold people to the meaning of the words, why they are applying it or not applying it. That is how we are able to determine that accountability is being achieved or not achieved. So as Daniel put it right, and as you can see it on the screen, we are looking at two keywords. All right. So those in public trust, we want them to be able to explain to us what they are doing. We want them to justify. That means if they make a decision that this is best for the country, they should tell us the reason why they think that decision is in the best interest of the nation. And also, they must be responsible. If anything goes wrong, they should say, well, we made a decision. It was an error on our part, so we take responsibility. And that taking responsibility should also extend to you making corrective action. You can't say, oh, we made a mistake and you end right there. No, that mistake must be corrected. And if you don't do those two things, then that means responsibility, has not taken place. Because you're taking responsibility of your action. Your action may cause harm. Your action may, cause some good for us. Dennis?
And Mr. C, at the end of the sentence there, it says, and the use of public resources. So think about it. We put public resources in your care. You are the one who taking care of our rice farm. So we say you must be able to explain, to justify, and take responsibility for the decisions and the action you take, and the use of public resources. That brings us to our next word, transparency. Transparency means that government actions, decisions, budgets, and processes are open. They are visible and accessible to the public. So whatever you're doing is open. We can see it. And the processes is not just what you do, but how you get to that point, right? If you were to leave Monrovia to go to Southtown, we want to see the decision that is we can see the decision, why that decision was made, how much it cost, what is the process leading to take that decision, and leaving from Monrovia to Southtown. It should be visible. We should see it. We don't have to go digging, wearing binoculars before we see it. And it should be accessible to the public. Anytime the public wanted it, must see it. So if you can tie the two words together, we say transparency provides the information, and accountability ensures action when something is wrong. Mr. C, I want to hear your thought again on those two.
Dennis, this is
words, and we don't actually break it down for people to really see what happened. And then we can apply even in your own house, in your neighborhood, in your church, in your mosque, in your place of worship. Do you have transparency and accountability? Mr. C.
Dennis, this is fundamental, right? And that's why I like how we do things here at Focus on Liberia. We try to break things down. All right. So transparency provides the information. First, we define transparency. All right. Transparency provides, right? If you go to the definition, we say it means that government action, decision, budgets, and processes are open. And not only open, but they are visible. They are accessible to the public. Then there's one example I will use here. The national budget is always on the website of the Ministry of Finance. Now, There are others who don't have internet access. And the fact that they don't have internet access, they can't go on the Ministry of Finance website to see it, to access it. That means it is not accessible to them.
Yeah.
So the government must find another way of making the budget accessible. Now, can they take a copy to universities? Can they take copies to our high schools so that curious students and teachers who want to see what is even in that very budget, they can see it? I will even take it further. If, for example, D12 High is listed in that budget, I want the portion of the budget that itemizes everything for D12 should be sent to D12 so D12 students and D12 administrators can see it. If it means that the budget of the Ministry of Local Government, for example, if they don't have, they shouldn't have to struggle to go through the entire budget, because sometimes then the budget can be up to 250 pages.
Yeah.
So there are many people that don't have patience to go through that. Can we as a government, in terms of accessibility, take the copy for the Ministry of Local Government and take it to the Ministry of Local Government? This is your budget, so that those other agencies can read it and see what is in it. And those who have questions, their questions can also be answered. So that is accessibility. It must be open and it must be accessible to the people. That's what we mean by transparency. Another example I'm going to give then is when the president is traveling, the budget of that trip, there should be transparency. There should be openness about it. And we, the citizens, should be able to at least go on the website of the executive mansion and see that, oh, the president is traveling today. There are 4 persons or 6 persons going with the president. And these 6 persons, they have to buy a plane ticket for each of them. Okay, the breakdown should be that the cost of the ticket, how many days they're going to be there, each hotel room for each of them is this amount. We must have access to that information. Now, and sometimes the people in government feel that if we know that, we would think that they are doing something wrong. No, every human being is sensible. There's no way our president can travel and we think that he shouldn't have a place to sleep. There's no way we can think that the president will travel and he should not eat. There's no way we will think that the president should travel, there should be no, or transportation. So these are all legitimate reasons why money must be set aside. But why are they hiding it?
Mr. Sia, before we go to the specific of these things, I want us to lay the foundation, right? Why is transparency important? And why is accountability important, right? Why is it that even in your own personal life, to your children, your spouse, to your family, in your organization, in your place of worship, when you have a football team, what happens if you are non-transparent? The first thing that comes to people's mind is you are hiding something. If you are not accountable, yes, you did something, you don't want to be accountable, you don't want to say, I did it, especially if it is bad. So you don't want to take responsibility. Okay, it means you know that something is wrong and you believe taking responsibility is going to embarrass you. So you cover it up, right? So many ways, and if people don't know what you are doing, what's going to happen is they're going to suspect that you are doing something wrong. So,
exactly.
So is that important? And one thing I want us to stress before we even go further is, does this thing apply to any specific government, any specific ministry, any specific era? Mr. C, is accountability or is transparency important today than yesterday? Was it important under President Weah, President Salif, President Taylor, President Doe, or President Weah? Is it, talk to me about those things, the 2 things that we are talking about tonight, those 2 words, transparency, accountability. Are they important to one administration compared to the other, or are they just across the board?
Then across the board, it is not selective. It is applicable to every administration, every human being, and you give a very profound example earlier that even in the family, it is very, very important that there must be transparency, because when you hide things, then people discover those things, then they will accuse you of having an agenda, of having an interior motive, that maybe there is something you want to do that you don't want them to see. That is why you decided to hide some information that everyone should have the right to know. And then there's another thing we should understand here is that when we're talking about government we call it public. It's a public institution. That means it belongs to everybody.
Yeah.
Those who are fortunate to be in government, they are servants. We are their bosses. So if you are a child in a home and you are under obligation to report to your parents your grades if you are in school. If you went out and you came from out late, your parents will want to know. In fact, there's a need for you to even tell your parents that, oh, I will be going to my friend graduation tonight because the graduation is happening in the night. Your parents need to know. If your parents don't know, they may think that you are going out there to do something wrong. So there will be questions. So transparency benefits everybody.
Yeah.
It removes the suspicion. It creates a sense of security, and it is just perfect for everybody. I understand it's a human thing to not do so, but that human thing is only bringing about problem that you don't want to deal with, and it's even bringing stress. And so, yes, Dennis, to answer your question directly, transparency is non-selective, it's applicable to everybody and everyone in every aspect of our life, especially when it comes to processes and the provision of basic social services in the governing society.
Thank you. We have Mr. Pade. Kwanyamengi Pade say, I'm wondering if all that you are saying is practical in the United States where you live, Anthony C. And Mr. Pade, if you could say exactly, give me an example when you say accountable, for someone to be accountable, forget government, forget, just to be transparent. Let your, if you going somewhere, say this is where I'm going. In your own personal life, you can get away, but if all of us get together and say, keep our money, and you are saying it's not practical to tell us if the money lost or if somebody stole the money for you to tell us, you say it's not practical, or we put you in charge. You say you our boss, so you take care of those of us in the United States. You ask somebody to build your house in Liberia, and you are saying it's not practical for the person to tell you whether the house to roof level, what they did with the money you send them to build the house. You say it's not practical for the person to show you exactly what they did. If they bought plank, they bought zinc, to show you the receipt. Are you saying it's not practical? And also, if I'm the one who's sending the money, you say you shouldn't just tell me, I should just believe, have faith. Or if something goes wrong on the side, you are there in Liberia, you didn't really foresee that the cost of steel rod was going to go up. Now you estimated that it was going to be $200. Now it happens that it's $300, so you were short, and so you did something, or you try to rob Peter to pay Paul. If you are caught, are you saying it's not practical to say, oh, I'm sorry, I did it, I just misjudged? Or even though I had the money, but my son was sick and I had to do something and I took the money without telling you. So I take responsibility. Please forgive me. I will work hard, or you can withhold the little thing you were giving me. You can withhold it for this month to pay, but you say it's not practical. Mr. C, the reason I'm delving into this before we even start is I think this is where the problem is. Anytime you say transparency and accountability, and my man is in power, I think that you are opposition to my government. If I'm outside of government, you say, and I will be crying transparency, accountability until my friend gets in power. So let's address Mr. Pade, Mr. C, if you can use a minute.
Yeah, my understanding of Mr. Pade's question here or concern here is that while we are explaining, I'm not sure he's doubting that these things are a big problem in Liberia. His concern here is it practical in America? He wants to know the transparency, the way we are explaining and breaking it down. He wants to know whether it is practical in America. The way we explain it, is it how things are in America, the way we explain it?
Yeah. And he's using the budget you said when you said distributed to high school. He's using that as an example. Maybe he forgot that in all high schools, they have internet in America, unlike us.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And Mr. Quada, that is a very interesting question, right? And we are not here to say we know everything about America, but accessibility of information, it is one of the things that is key in America. We see it in our places of work. For example, where I work, the company that I work for, the company makes quarterly report on its profit. They send me a copy. They upload it on a website. There is a video that explains it to all the employees. I'm not part of the people complain. I was not there when they funded the company. But the fact that I work for the company is on obligation to tell me how much money has been made as profit at the end of every quarter. They send it to the email. They put it on the company website. And they not only put the writing, they put it in video. And then it's also placed in a newspaper. The media can carry it. That is transparency.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, Mr. Quada, yes, transparency is at the highest level because information being provided, they are accessible by everybody concerned. The budget of the United States, if you want to see it, you go to the appropriate website, you will see it. And we are low on that in Liberia. I know it's always on the Ministry of Finance website, there where I go. But how many person will go there? And that is why what I said was a recommendation, all right? Because it's big and not everybody will be able to read it. So maybe they can separate it into packages and Ministry of Education copy. Just carry it there and carry it to the ministry so people that they can access it. If a school is in the budget, carry the school budget so that they can see it. I think that way will help. So that example that I gave specifically, it's an example to really bring about practical accountability and transparency in Liberia.
Thank you, Mr. C. And if you are just joining us, this is our special broadcast on accountability and transparency. The reason we chose those two is for a long time now, we see that those have been among the problems that we face in Liberia. We don't want to be transparent. Everything is almost like kukujumuku. Inside, you don't know. So we want to say, let's talk about those two. And so, having said that, having laid the premise, we want to talk about our first, and let's talk about this and see whether we see accountability and we see transparency. Forget about who's in power. Number one is the Foya Polytechnic. There's a school, either is proposed, but Foya Polytechnic. Mr. Sia, you've reported on this a couple of times. Lay out for our viewers about Foya Polytechnic that has been in the budget, but people went to the place there, all they saw was land, no building.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. So, like Dennis rightfully said, there is a school, and this school here is a ghost school, meaning it does not exist. It is called the Foya Polytechnic. Now, this school was placed in a budget as an existing school, that this school exists. The story beyond it is that in Foya, Lofa County, the elders of Foya wanted to see a kind of polytechnic or a school for their children, because their children graduating from high school were going to Vojama, some of them were going to Guinea and Sierra Leone to get higher education above high school. And so they decided that, well, our children going away, we would rather see them go to school here after high school, that there should be another school where they can go to advance themselves. So the only thing they had was land. So they gave 150 acres of land to their children who are in government sitting in Monrovia. In other words, they set aside a land and they asked the government officials in that county, especially from Foya, that this land here, we want you to take it and build us a school so that children graduating from high school can stay here and go to school to advance themselves. The land was given at the time, according to the report, and this report actually, this investigative report was done by a Liberian newspaper called the Liberian Investigator. First, they reported it. They wanted to be sure. They went to Foya and they saw the land. Now, this is where the story got interesting. This particular school now, which has now been constructed, was placed in a budget. Since 2023, money has been set aside for this particular school in Foya, and I'm going to give you the figures. According to the Liberian investigators, they said that 250,000 total has been given for this school. And at some point, it was made to believe that the school was already constructed and they were just giving this money for the running of the school. According to them, since 2018, that's when they start giving money to this school. But I went also and did further investigation. And I realized that though they said 2018, it was not 2018. The school started receiving money 2023. The first money it received was 70,000 in 2023. And then in 2024, it received 56,000. In 2025, it received 20,000. And they did 2026 budget. There is 20,000 in there for this very school.
Right. And that's a budget line. I want to distinguish, it's in the budget, whether they receive it or not, we don't know, right?
Yeah, we don't know, but it's there. And then here's the thing. And we don't know whether they actually received the money. But the Liberian investigator, according to them, they reached out to Francis Yemane, who is the current minister of local government. And according to their report, at the time this whole school business started, according to them, he was the representative of that district in Foya. And according to their report, they call him the bow funder. I don't know what that means. The bow funder, that's the name I was giving. So it means that he was leading the charge of how to find money to build this particular polytechnic in Foya. Yeah. So in 2022, a budget line was assigned to this particular university, and the budget line is 251102. But in that 2022, they didn't get a penny. But that was the time a budget line was assigned. So when I did my research, they said, well, before they allot money for anything in the budget, there has to be a budget line. So in 2022, a budget line was assigned. And it's that budget line now that will carry every amount that will be allotted to that particular project or to that particular entity. And so the discrepancy between my investigation and the Liberian investigator investigation is that it didn't start receiving money in 2018. They started receiving money for this, or they start putting money in the budget 2023. And the Liberian investigator said the total money being set aside or sent to this particular school is 250,000. My investigation established, and is based on my verification of the budget from 2018 all the way to 2026. My verification is that if you add 2026 there, it will be 202,000 and not 250,000. So maybe they have other information that I could not find. So they called the Ministry of Finance to confirm what they had in their, or what they have unearthed from their investigation. According to them, no one answered them. They called the Ministry of Education. No one answered them, according to them. They called Francis Yemane, the Minister of Local Government. No one answered. And then they were able to talk to the superintendent of that statutory district in Foya. The man name is Boka Boakai. They was able to talk to him. And there's a video when they were interviewing him. And he said that, yes, the elders of the town gave the 150 acres. And ever since then, we have not gotten the school. But we too hearing the report that since 2023, there's been money in the budget for this particular polytechnic. But here is the land. That's also bushes you see here. There's no university. Another person who they call is Thomas Fowler. Thomas Fowler was called, and Thomas Fowler refused to answer them.
Thomas Fowler comes from Foya.
Yeah, Thomas Fowler comes from
Foya. Comes from Foya. Francis
comes from Foya. The Minister of Local Government comes from Foya. And as we speak, Thomas Fowler is the representative of Foya, the Foya district. He represents that Foya district, Thomas Fowler. According to the librarian investigator, they called him. He did not answer. So, Dennis, the amount of money have been set aside in the budget for this period to build a university and a polytechnic. There is no polytechnic. So the question is, where did the money go? Did they actually receive the money? Who received the money? And if the money was received, what was done with the money for which the place is not even being brushed, Dennis? They have not even brushed the place. And there's another interesting aspect of it. I don't remember the year, but certain time, the Francis Imane and one other official in the country, they were throwing accusations. There were counter accusations about a 56,000. And when I look at my research, it was 2024 when they set aside $56,000 for the very polytechnic. That is my finding, and it's for my investigation.
Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you, Mr. Cien. Excellent reporting. Based on what we've said, what explains this prolonged delay from 20? We started by saying this is not about any administration. 2023, President Weah was in the CDC government. President Boakai and the UP took over 2024, and the same thing continues. So we are not talking about any specific administration. This is across the board, because the issue of transparency and accountability is not with any particular person. We've seen this. We've watched this movie over and over. So what explains this prolonged delay? Viewers, I want you to comment. Also, has any allocation been disbursed? And if so, where did it go? You know, after the budget, they evaluate, they have the budget outturns and all that different things. So we can look at those reports and see where the money go. Who is responsible for reporting progress to the public? Mr. Sia, the question we get now is even while we are talking about this, the first question people will ask, did you do your investigation? Did you go? Did you ask this person? Did you go this place? Because we've been conditioned to say government is the people's thing. So we always place the burden on the people. Oh, journalists, did you go to Foya to find this? Did you ask the education minister? Did you ask Francis Jumala? Did you ask? Transparency and accountability we're talking about is we shouldn't be pulling out our teeth to find this. If it is in the budget, it should, there should be a report on it. If things have happened for which it's being delayed, there should be a report. The superintendent of that area should know. That should be in their report. That should be in the superintendent's report, the county superintendent. That should be in the representative report. And so it should be everywhere. We don't have to send, or sometimes they tell you, you have to use the Freedom of Information Act. Come on. The burden is on our leaders to be transparent. Tell us, why do we have the Foya Polytechnic? Money is there every year and is being there every year, and we don't hear anything. Why? Have you received any money for this polytechnic? If yes, what are you doing with it? Are you putting it in escrow until you're ready to build it? Or what is it? Where is the money? And when you have a project, there should be milestones. You should set timeline, and there should be reporting mechanism. that we know what's going on? Do we have that? Who is responsible? Whose job it is to report this? And we beat on our citizens too much that, hey, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this. I bet if people are in support, people in support of this government will say, oh, did you do your own research? Did you go there? But it is incumbent upon the leaders to be transparent. Just tell us. This is what makes transparency very important. Tell us what's happening, because this is our money. The budget line, what is there from 2023 till now, the money is for us. And you are in charge of it. And then if you go to our legislative branch that's supposed to make sure things are, going well, they have the oversight. This was in the budget line. Did you use it? What's going on with the Foya Polytechnic? There is nothing whatsoever coming out from there. So I cannot stress this issue with transparency any more than that. We deserve to know. But do citizens know that they're supposed to know this, Mr. C? What's your sense of that?
Then there are a lot of citizens who don't know that they are entitled to the information about services that are being provided, promised, money being put into the budget, for development purposes in their districts and even in the entire country. There are some citizens, I think, who feel that they don't necessarily have to know. The government just have to do it. And I think that is a problem. And another aspect of it, Dennis, is that the leaders should be able to inform the people about their right to know. And because the culture of transparency and accountability is not in us, we don't use it as a catalyst, as the fuel, as the engine for governance. We don't cultivate it as a culture. We do not make it as a way of life. And so it appears as though we do not know. And many people really don't know, to be exact. All right. What we need now is to actually promote the culture of transparency. Dennis, if we promote the culture of transparency, when we make it part of our daily lives, when we institute it at every level, from the school, at the places of work, and then even in our family, all right, among our friends, to our very selves, then it will become part of us, and then it will be easier for us to implement. But, I don't think we have that culture of transparency. It's like we don't see the value in it. I don't know where it's coming from. It's a historical, that a republic was established, and there was a group of people who were governing who felt that, they were in control, and the other people, they didn't understand what governance was, so they didn't have to tell them anything. And so we continue on that path until it has now become a culture that we don't have to tell our citizens this is what they need to know. How many lawmakers are taking the budget for their county and explaining that to the people they represent in the first place? How many officials of government who are heads of agencies are taking the budget when the budget is passed to call a meeting and discuss the budget with the people in that particular ministry and agency to explain that this is what is in the budget for our agency, and this is what we plan to do with the money. This is the amount that goes for salary, something in the budget they call PSI, public sector investment, project or program. That is the money they will use either to do renovation or to get the things that they need at that particular ministry or agency to improve services. Maybe they use sometimes they use it to buy vehicles and do other things. Do they even call them to a meeting so that everyone at that ministry and agency can have a clue what is in the budget and what is actually intended for, they do not do it at all.
Mr. Sear, you stressed something, and I want us to delve into that a little bit, right? You said the way we don't ask to say where the money go. Where does that come from? Is it in the culture, right? That's a very profound question. I want us to, as somebody who closely follow Liberian politics since I was in the second grade, all the way behind God back.
Right.
So we come from, there's a concept that the book people describe as elite capture, right? Because if you go back, remember where in Liberia government was the people thing. Yes, and so exactly. If you try to talk, you know how to use to characterize you? Troublemaker.
Troublemaker.
Yeah. During President Tubman time, they have the PRO system where anything you say, even in your closet, somebody is there who's being paid to tell on you to the central government. People were sent to Bella Yala, the notorious prison, for saying something, just speaking their mind. So we've come to, and then during President those times, they say you're a saboteur. President, we are called them racketeers. So all through, we have, so this concept of
and President Waka called them backing dogs.
Right. So they said the concept of elite capture originated in the study of developing countries to describe the way socially advantaged people tend to gain control over financial benefits meant for everyone, especially foreign aid. So elite, the big people, they just take the whole country, has their, somebody said, their private, enterprise. And so they are there at the top. Nobody should talk. Right? And that's why the crew people have their private, they say, the leader who will refuse to listen to the pleas, the advice and suggestion of the subject will always come in the midst of the people with something bad on their garment, like excrement, right? So in this culture, you are not supposed to talk. And then our current culture now is, if you say anything against the government in power or a call for transparency, you are called opposition. So if your party is in power or you are a sympathizer of those in power, nobody's supposed to say anything. If you say it means you are opposition, you don't like the president, you don't like the country, you don't like this and that. And so it continues. So that elite capture, elite privileged people taking everything to be themselves. And in doing so, you have to keep the people blind. You don't want them to know everything, because if they know it, they're going to check behind you and they're going to expose your flaws. Remember now, the people they call one of the group that's being vilified in Liberia, the ones called the progressive. And they're crying because they exposed what was going on in the TWP government. They talk about it, they expose it, they were very vocal, and people are saying, oh, you're not supposed to talk about it. The country was doing well. Tubman was doing this, or Tubman was doing this. So we all supposed to fold our hand and just wait until power is handed over to us. So that culture that you shouldn't talk, if you talk, you are branded like someone who is anti-progress. When the late Aberport questioned Tubman, use of his yacht and all the money that he was spending, he said, look at that man, he not even pay taxes. He made him look ugly to the people. And people like that, and so you are declared, if the government makes you to look bad because you are speaking up, you are declared government, the political government boom. So just to give you an idea, or to just comment, because you asked that very profound question as to where does this culture come from. And so transparency now is like a four-letter word.
And Dennis, that is a history that you narrated so profoundly that gives us a sense of where the culture of people not having the curiosity to know about things that affect them, and even those who govern are now making, they don't even see it as a responsibility. They don't see it as an accountability measure. They don't even see it as a transparency measure, which is the fundamental responsibility to the people.
Yeah.
That is the pillar or the foundation of governance. When the people know their entitlement, their right, information is key, not only because we are in the information age, but it is fundamental to governance.
Yeah.
And to see that you have narrated the history of it, I see why people don't pay attention, because many people have gotten in trouble,
Yeah.
historically speaking, when they wanted to know, when they wanted to inform others about what they need to know about governance in our country. So now I see where this is coming from. And you mentioned the word elite capture. The less they know, or if they don't know at all, that means you can do whatever you want, and they will not know that you are causing harm. They will not know that you are hiding something. They will not know that you are carrying out corruption. And so Dennis, having said that, let's bring that to practicality. There is a gentleman called Sano Johnson. He was a senator. I don't remember which county. It may not Bombay, there might be
Kidman, I think.
Kidman. I'm not sure of Kidman. It might be Bombay.
Yeah, the two counties.
It might be Bombay. So Sano Johnson was a senator, and I was shocked when President Bouaka appointed him as a legislative liaison.
Yeah, he's from Bombay. That's Kidman Bombay.
Yes, he's from Bombay. So President Bouaka appointed him as a special envoy to the legislature. He's supposed to be the bridge between the president and the legislature. So when the president made that appointment, I said, but what does that even mean? First of all, the president has the speaker. The speaker and him from the same party. They get along. What is it that he will want to know from the House of Representatives that the speaker cannot tell him? And now when you go to the Senate, Senator Abraham Darius DeLong, he is the member of the Rescue Alliance. He has a consequential political relationship with the president. He will be glad to share with the president what is going on in the legislature. The president will save money because DeLong will not ask for pay to answer the president's question.
Mr. C, the vice president is presiding over the Senate.
Exactly. Then you have his able lieutenant, Jeremiah Kpankong. During the campaign, when they asked the president, who you think makes a good vice president for you, he said, well, somebody who and myself have the same values.
Yeah.
So when the president told Jeremiah Kung was an embodiment, a sample of the president, and he is the president of the Senate. Now, to add to that, Dennis, the president also has a non-consequential political relationship in the Senate. Or Senator Nyomli Kanga Lawrence, who is the president pro tempore of the Senate. She is part of the Rescue Alliance. So why the President Bouaka had to appoint somebody?
Okay, there's a breaking news. There's breaking news from DN News, Liberia. It says former Bombay County Senator Sando Johnson resigns from government post and joins CMC. Former Bombay County Senator Sando Johnson has officially resigned from his position as liaison officer in the office of the president with immediate effect. Johnson, who was appointed by President Bouaka to coordinate activities between the executive mansion and the legislature, announced his resignation after serving in the role for several months. According to him, he decided to step down because he believes the government is not ready yet to effectively pursue its agenda. He also disclosed that he has officially joined the Citizen Movement for Change, the political party led by Musa Bility. And listen to this one. This is the kicker. Report says the job has no salaries, no benefits, and no well-defined role or terms of reference.
That must be very true. And, but here's the other thing that I learned, and is based on my investigation. The report is that there's a report out there that in the budget, all right, there was 50,000 there inserted in the budget for Sano Johnson for his role as legislative liaison, and that the 50,000 was never received. And it is in the budget, and I'm looking at it right now, Dennis, as we speak. The 2026 budget, 50,000. So it says here the budget line is 263683, transferred to legislative liaison, 50,000. And the report is saying that he's alleging that he did not receive that money. And besides that, what he also narrated that there is no a clear defined role for him. So that man was given a job. I remember when he was given a job, he was on radio and he wanted to show, and he too was speaking so emphatic that this is why he's going to do. And I was listening to him. I said, well, how are you going to do this work? How are you really going to do this work? And this is man who has now come back to us, the public, and say, well, there's no time for restaurant from my job. But they put money in the budget for him, the 50,000. The report is that he's yet to receive that money. And that's why he's very unhappy.
And you received the job without job description. That takes us back to, the Foya Polytechnic. Again, we can't stress enough that the questions now being asked is, we are asking a few questions. Why we don't have the Polytechnic yet? If it is delayed, why? Has the allocation that Mr. Sia broke down, has the allocation been disbursed? If so, where did it go? If none, why? Who is responsible for reporting progress to the public? So just like the job of Sando Johnson, right? And say, hey, there is 50,000 budget item here for me or for my office, but I didn't get it. Where did it go? Okay, who's supposed to report on this? Who's supposed to check on this? Who does Mr. Sando Johnson report to? And so when you create this ad hoc stuff, and now in the mid, and because this Sando Johnson at that time before he got a point, he was throwing punches here and there.
Oh, yes.
Like offering himself as a sacrificial lamb to be burned at the altar of the executive mansion. And so he got noticed.
And then let me share something with you. Transparency is very key. And we as a people need to see it for what it is. And it is the lack thereof to include accountability, for which there is always noise. Because when people don't know what you're doing, when they come to find out that you are not serving them, then there's a problem. I gave you a very practical example of our heads of agencies calling a meeting of their entire staff to inform them what is in the budget for the running of their agency. They don't do so. They don't do so. And so the people looking at them, they say, oh, there's new car. Oh, the boss man get one new suit. They feel that they are eating the money. They don't even know how much is in the budget in the first place. They didn't inform them and why the money will be used for. But let me share this with you, Dennis. The University of Liberia 2026 budget. And then the reason you are coming to the money, because when we define it, we talk about what? Resources. The application of what? Resources, right? And resources without it, government will be somehow meaningless. Because then how do you run the government? How do you run the agency? How do you provide education to our people? So the ministry, not the ministry, but University of Liberia in the 2026 budget, the total money set aside was 42.5 million for the University of Liberia. So they're supposed to transfer $30.9 million to the University of Liberia. Now, under the University of Liberia, they have the Dogliati College. The Dogliati College is one of the colleges under the University of Liberia. All right.
Medical school.
Yeah, the medical school. So that medical school, based on the budget, it has 1.4 million. How many persons in that school know? Will they inform all the officials that this is what we should be expecting? If they will not get all of it, will they inform them? If they don't, sometimes because we know that the government sometimes does not raise the money, but the finance minister went on record and said they're not going to have budget shuffle. They might even have surplus because they didn't get in 200,000 out of what they projected. So, I mean, people should understand that they will get all the money that been projected because he said he's glad about it. So, but there are instances sometimes budget is a projection. If all the money not being realized or collected, do they come back to inform the people? Then, as you know how it happens, sometimes the controller will be informed, man, we didn't raise all the money for you people. And the controller will not come down to tell the other people. So the controller now may be accused. The accountant now may be accused. Oh, I mean, if you need the money, there is no transparency. So at every point when there's a change in the information, it must be communicated.
Yeah. And I think there was this guy who was at the, I don't know now or before, who went for the hearing. And DeLong was asking him, he said, did you read it? I mean, you supposed to, he said, no, he didn't even read all of it. Yeah, but how are you going to enforce it if you don't read it? So talking about the budget, people don't read it. You don't take that piece of the budget that covers your entity. And
then there's that Fatima. Fatima went for confirmation. She did not know what was the budget of the, I think at some point she was doing some work at the Montreal City Corporation. Yeah. I think she was a councilwoman or something. And you know, asked the question if she read the budget, and she didn't read the budget. She didn't know.
Yeah, people don't know. So, and let's conclude on these two questions. So, if the funds were earmarked for education, you know, this is, and I like the desire of the people. So we don't want to go to Sierra Leone or somewhere else or Guinea, since we are far from Monrovia. So we need a technical school here that we can learn something. And the government agrees with that and say, okay, yeah, let's build the Foya Polytechnic. So if the funds were earmarked for education, what does that say about Liberia's commitment to regional development and transparency in project execution? We talk about are we committed to that? And so who should we hold responsible? Should the Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Public Works be held accountable for reporting on stalled projects like Foya Polytechnic? I mean, we got to choke somebody here. Who should we choke, Mr. Sear? How do
we should hold all parties, involved accountable. All right, the representative of the people, who I will have every reason to believe, because Thomas Fala now is the representative of that place, and not only that. Because this is almost the third year, right? So he's been representing this district of Lofa for 3 years now. Now, even if that were not so, my understanding is that is the town he comes from. Yeah. That is the town he comes from. And Mr. Thomas Fala has been in the House of Representatives for generations now. And Mr. Thomas Fala has been playing a consequential role. He has been on Ways, Means, and Finance. So there is no way, in my judgment, he will have no knowledge whatsoever of a polytechnic in his hometown that has a budget line. Now, even if he didn't know all along, because no one can know everything, the fact that he was called that honorable, there is a Foya Polytechnic that is supposed to be in Foya, and money has been placed in the budget for over 5 years now. We're trying to call your attention. He has not answered them. What's wrong with that? So that is the issue. And so Mr. Thomas Fala need to provide leadership here. The Ministry of Education was informed. They have not answered the question. They have not provided any information. The Ministry of Finance draws the budget. The Ministry of Finance has been saying, yeah, money here for the Polytechnic. Yeah, money here for the Polytechnic for over 6 years now. I mean, about 6 years now. 3 years to be specific, because they started putting money in the budget there in 2023, right? And this is 2023, 2026. So that's 3 years. So 3 years now they have allotted money. But according to the Liberian investigators, they say it's been 7 years. We didn't see 7 years. We saw 3 years, right? So 3 years, they have allotted money. So has the finance ministry not checked to find out that this school actually exists? Maybe they have not done so. And the fact that it was brought to their attention Is that not reason enough for them to go and check?
But,
And who have been receiving the FOIA money?
yeah, but
Who has been
Mr. CA,
receiving the Polytechnic money?
if something happened one time, you say, well, maybe oversight. 2 times,
Right.
but it become a pattern, right?
Yes.
So this was put there under President Weah, under Samuel Tuer. So 2 of them missed it, right? Maybe they didn't see it. And then the FOIA people, they didn't see it. Even the citizens, they didn't see it. Then President Bouakai came to power. Things were turned over to him. He missed it too. And then came Muammar Kamara, who was the finance minister, who was still putting the budget line. He missed that too. The education minister from Weah now, they all miss it. And then come up to Minister Gaffon, Minister Jala, Minister for Public Works.
Yes,
right?
Giddens, Mr. Giddens.
I mean, if what does that tell you now? If it runs through all these people and nobody see it, or they see it and they doing it behind the door, or I mean, I don't want to believe that everybody just joined to say, okay, we'll have a polytechnic here, we'll have Bush, and we'll continue to eat the money, or we'll continue to just don't look at it. I really find it hard to believe that across administration, everybody will just join to rob the people of FOIA.
And
I find it hard to believe. What
Dennis,
really is going on? What is the possible explanation for this?
Dennis, if you look at it, Gaffon, from what I understand, is from FOIA. You have been called now to be alerted about this ghost, this ghost polytechnic in FOIA, your home county, that has been receiving money. And you put money in the budget.
That one is from the Bundy area, that Kolahu and other home areas.
Then the FOIA in Lofa.
No. You are saying that it's Newtown. I just want to make that clear.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. And then Francis Yemeni, he's from FOIA. And they know that the president is from FOIA. Thomas Fala is from FOIA. My understanding is that the Minister of Education has some Lofa connection. You know, their government, when we talk about their government, their government here is either 60 to 75% Lofa. Let me repeat, maybe somebody didn't hear me. This government here, it is predominantly Lofa government. It would be fair for anyone who believe in anything they call truth to call this government a Lofa government. And I will not miss my words on this, because that is just the truth. Except people want me to lie, and I choose not to lie. And so that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Dennis, there is no, even like you are saying, how could it be that everybody will miss this?
Right.
I can give it out to them. But the fact that it has been brought to your attention, the library investigators reported this story 2 times. It has not been picked up by any official, even with the newspaper making effort to call their attention. Focus on Ladura has reported this story 2 times. This is our 3rd time on this story. Will anybody in authority, especially from Lofa, pick this up? Will the LACC pick this up? Will the Minister of Justice pick this up? Will the office of the president pick this up? Will the finance minister decide to ask questions? Can the superintendent of that district has done his part? He granted the media interview. He told them why he knew. And here is the place. It's all bullshit. We have not received the university. We're still waiting. Nothing has happened. He has played his part. I call on all the other officials, responsible or connected to this, who have any supervisory or leadership role to play, to come and say something about this. Because the money, if all the money as budgeted was disbursed for the university, that money is gone. Where did it go, and who eat it?
And the
Where
citizens
who ate the money?
All right. Let's go to another. Let's go to our second segment. And Mr. C, this is about foreign travels and public disclosure. I mean, I remember the late Senator Mobutu Nipa. He said, "For God's sake, let people travel." So traveling is a big deal in Liberia. I remember people fast sometimes 40 days and 40 nights to travel. I hear pastor preaching, "In the name of Jesus, you shall travel." So
Amen.
traveling is a big deal. Many years ago, I wrote a little piece, "Civilization has renewed." One of the way we knew that you civilize is if you travel to a foreign country. Whether you went there to be a slave, like in Fanadipo, when you come back, you have traveled, it's a big deal. So traveling, that's huge. And now with government travel where you have money, even if you are not home, so they will give you all the different perks to travel. You will see different places. When you come back, you're a big man. I remember this guy from I have a kind of I'm related to him through marriage because my aunt married his dad. I mean, when he came from England, everything was just. I mean, he was so big. So there's a joke about him. He said, no, I'm not going to say that. Well, so traveling is a big deal. So let's turn our attention to foreign travels by government officials. This is a recurring concern among citizens. Liberians often see headlines announcing trips abroad, but no public record of how much was spent, who traveled, or what outcomes were achieved. Mr. Sear, why is there no centralized disclosure system for official travel expenses? Should the Ministry of Finance or the executive mention public quarterly travel reports? How can citizens verify whether these trips yield any tangible benefits? So as we talk about transparency and accountability, let's talk about foreign travels. I mean, the first time this became a big concern was under the late interim president, Judy Bryant. I mean, when they're traveling, even they cook, there's somebody there to brush his hair, somebody to brush his teeth. But when we come back, nobody knows. Under President Sirleaf, we heard that Minister Kofi Woods at that time returned some of the money, and that was celebrated everywhere because he has surplus. Former presidential hopeful, Councillor Tiawonse Gonglo, he even spoke about that experience. That you go somewhere, there's so much money. If you don't use it, that's your pocket change. So let's turn our attention to foreign travel. And most of the time, or sometimes, what we hear is, hey, some of these trips, they are security concerns. I remember when President Weah used to travel, and they say, oh, the number of people travel with the president, they are 40. Some will say, oh, no, we can't give you the number because we have some security details that we can tell you about. Granted. But what can you tell us about foreign travels and public disclosure? And just like we said before, if there's no urgency. Sometimes we say these things, and sometimes we only say them when the person in power or the person traveling is not your friend or is not a member of your party. Mr. C, you have reported a lot on foreign travels, and I think there's one in the making for the president.
The president is in Ghana right now. He gone there for a conference. The conference came about as a result of this reparation. As we know, a lot of Africans were enslaved, and this is the most heinous crime ever committed by humanity in the world. To look at another human being and use them as a machine, as a tool. Black people were enslaved many, many years ago by white people. And it remains the number one highly heinous documented crime ever in the history of mankind. And there are a lot of Black people that have been advocating that for us to have been dehumanized and robbed of our identity, of everything, there must be reparation for that. So many people have been advocating for that. It has gone to the level of the United Nations. The president of Ghana is one of such person who is advocating for that, and he is not apologetic about it. He's unapologetic about that, because when they were shipping black people out of Africa for enslavement, many of them went through Ghana. Ghana was a port of export of black people at some point, and
and we are expecting the person, and that's why when it came up, United States, Israel, other people voted against it, right? Because you don't expect the person who enslaved you or who abused you, who violated you, to say, yes, I did it, and here is money. They are afraid that that's going to open more doors, and it will going to make them accountable, something that they're not willing to do, because they still got their foot on our neck. So, and that's how these people, that's how they make their money. That's how this country was built. So they are not willing to admit that. Admitting that will be they're not going to do it again. And no, they are doing to do it again. It's just going to come in different form. So the president has traveled to talk about this. Well, the political side about that we can discuss in detail. But how much is being spent? Are we supposed to know?
Yes, Dennis, we are supposed to know, because when leaders come to power, one of the things they tell us, and we hear in the speeches, President Baka spoke yesterday, you heard the word accountability. You heard the word transparency. This is the word that they can drink as water every day. It will be transparent. There will be accountability. And President Baka ran on transparency and accountability. And we did our best to define accountability and transparency. We did not just define it. We were able to give reasons logical enough why transparency, how it must be applied, is key to governance. And that in the absence of transparency and accountability, that means you are not doing what you are supposed to do as leaders. So yes, Dennis, oh yes. Travel is one of the places where public resources have been abused. Travel is number one. Number two, that construction, road constructions in Liberia, or development projects. These are the two key areas. Those who abuse public trust do so without any regret, because we do not pay attention.
Yeah.
Foreign travel, if you look in the budget, there is incidental foreign travel, all kinds of things.
Daily subsistence allowance.
Yeah, there is traveling subsistence allowance. Then there is traveling insurance, all kinds of things. So when they travel, what are the things that we spend money on? Plane ticket, hotel, food, they have per diem, insurance, and security. I just listed 6 things. If I think to again, it might go to 7 or 8. These are the things that we spend money on when our officials travel. They are using the money that belongs to the Liberian people. They are under obligation to disclose how many persons are on the trip, how much the trip is costing them, how long they're going to be there. As a people, we are supposed to know, because that is what transparency requires. So we cannot accuse them of they taking money that they're not supposed to take. It is the way of telling us that, because in the definition of transparency, Dennis, and accountability, we decide you must show us. It must be accessible. It must be in the open. And the what? The expenditure of resources, how you are using resources, must also be in the open. And you should be able to justify why you are spending this money. And the justification should be simple. I'm spending this money because I need plane ticket. We are spending this money because we need a place to sleep, hotel. We are spending the money on food because we need to eat. This is the president of the republic. He needs security. So we are carrying these maybe 4, 5, 6 security officers to provide security. Transportation, the president got to move from one point to the other. He got to go to the conference. He will need a car. If the country that is inviting the president will not provide that, then the government need to provide that. So these are all justifiable reasons to spend money. So why are you hiding it?
Yeah.
Because the people are entitled to know why you are traveling and what is the cost of travel. But over the years, it has never been done. It's been only when we put pressure on them, they will tell us, say, oh, and they've been lying about it, Dennis. During President Weah time, if I can go back, there was a trip, I think it was COP something in Russia. The delegation reportedly was around 75 people. At some point, President Weah went to China. You remember when they said that there was a $1 billion mineral swap?
Yeah.
It was over 50 people that went on that trip. It was the time it was reported that Samuel Tuer has changed a trip in Ghana, and the ticket has cost 25,000 United States dollars because he wanted first class and he needed to be there on time and not late. That was reported. And me being in the airline industry, I don't doubt it. I've seen some ticket 10,000, 15,000 for first class. Now, I'm not saying that that was exactly the case, but that was what was reported. So, Dennis, we need to know, because why, if these people are abusing the resources in this way? You mentioned Tiawan Gonglo travel and brought money back. You mentioned Kofi Wood travel and brought money back. So definitely we know that money that they usually set aside for travel can be way too much.
Right.
And when they don't spend the money, they don't bring it. That is why the leaders like to travel, because it is how they justify their excessive pay and purse. Money.
There is this one president of a university or college in Liberia. Mm-hmm. The students are taking labs. You know, they have biology, chemistry, and those things. So they have sciences. Mm-hmm. So before you graduate, as part of the curriculum, you should do lab. But they don't have a lab at a university, but they are graduating. Mm-hmm. So one of the vice presidents said he was not signing because he can't send people out that didn't complete because they didn't do lab. So they created a budget, very small budget, maybe less than 3,000 to just have some laboratory, right? And the president couldn't do that, but he had maybe 3 times that amount to use that to travel to the United States to give a speech. Newsflash. So the money, every time you use money, there's an opportunity, there's an opportunity cost. There's something you're taking the money away from. But because traveling, like I told you before, that was a mark of being civilized. So we always want to travel. You can put anything under traveling and then you're gone, right? So when you come back, you are operating on a different level now. The other people are local. So you want to stamp your authority. And so even before you travel, can we know why you're traveling? If there's a more cost-effective way to do it, President Boubacar said the other day, when he stopped traveling, he said, hey, this time before you travel, come to me, let's justify it, and let's see whether there's any other way you can travel. If we could do teleconference or video conferencing, and all that's good stuff we always hear. But sometimes I ask President Boubacar, when are we going to see results? Just saying it is not the thing, right? But when is this going to be enforced? When is this going to be implemented? When will you hold people accountable for doing these things, for violating? When will you hold people accountable? And so if you have to travel to New Zealand for something and you spend maybe 100 or 200,000, is there any other way you can do it? Can you call the person on the phone? Can we limit how many people go? Can we make use of our ambassadors in those areas? What can we do so as to cut cost? But always we want to travel because we want to justify free money coming to us. And if you think it's justifiable, just tell us. If you think that your cost, what you're going to get the benefits outweigh the cost, tell us. If you think, because it's not always about the money you get. Sometimes it's diplomacy. Sometimes you want to make things easy. Sometimes the result is a good relationship. You are not going to get money for everything. If you go and build a hand pump in Picnic Center, you're not going to get pay for it, right? But you are providing service to the people. If you travel somewhere, maybe we want to have a good relationship. We want to have a good image outside. So we're not expecting that every time you travel, you should come back with a bucket full of money. But whatever it is, can the people know? Why isn't that simple? And it doesn't stop to one administration. It's one administration after the other. A friend of mine always said, if the bakery, if the oven, every time is producing bread and it's burned, and all we think is let's change the baker, maybe it's time to look at the oven. Mr. C, what do we look at to correct this problem? Or what do you think is first, before we look at correcting it, what do you think is causing it so that from one administration to the other, we continue to see the same thing? Lack of transparency, lack of accountability. Mr. C, you are muted. All right, so I continue. As we discuss these two, so one, when officials travel without accountability, what message does that send to taxpayers who fund those trips? When officials travel without accountability, what message does that send to us, the taxpayers who fund this? And would a public travel registry that will list the cost, the delegates, and the outcome of this travel help restore confidence in government spending? Mr. C, are you there?
Dennis, I'm here, and sorry, yes, you're right. I was muted, and I was trying to look at something quickly here. And very good question you asked there. And I would like to provide that, look, the reason we are having the lack of transparency and accountability, there are many reasons. One is greed. One is the fact that people are focusing on what they will get. Our officials always see travel as an opportunity to get so much money. I like what you said. It is not every travel that is intended for you to get money, to get contracts, to get agreements. Sometimes it's so for you to represent your country. For example, if you went to the United Nations General Assembly, you are there to represent your country. Now, you can use that as an opportunity to talk to investors who might have gone there, who might be looking for places to go and invest. But your sole purpose there is to represent your country. If you went to a church on a Sunday, you go there to serve your God. No one is asking you that, oh, when you show up to church, government give you a job because you go to church, right? So sometimes I don't understand why the lack of transparency continues to that level, Dennis. The answer is simple. It is because they do not want to be transparent because they are benefiting from this. So let's come down to the travel thing. Let's look at 2026 budget. Let's deal with the office of the president. On the travel, they have foreign travel means of travel. In 2024, foreign travel means of travel was 597,000 United States dollars for the president. Now, in 2025, the year after 2024, they reduced it to 380,000. So Dennis, they told you that in 2024, they used 597,000. But then in 2025, the year that ended, they used 380. You see that? So it means that they could have even survived on 200,000. But yet in 2024, they used 597,000. So if you could rely or use just 380,000, What was the need for 597,000? Now, 2026, they reduced it to 220,000. That is from 380,000. That's why I told you, even in 2024, when President Walker has just taken office, when he was already angry with President Blair for abusing travel, he did not come to 200,000, but you are at 597,000 that very year. But that is not the only money they spend. This one is means of travel. Under that very travel, they have foreign travel, daily subsistence allowance.
Yeah.
In 2024, it was 646,000. Then in 2025, it dropped from 646,000 to 180,000. You see the difference?
Mhm.
And now in 2026, it's the same 180,000. Then they have incidental allowance added to daily subsistence allowance. In 2024, it was 136,000. 2025, they brought it to 74. In 2026, now they brought it to 30,000. Incidental allowance, meaning when something happened, at the time we'll spend the money. When nothing happened, do they report the money? No, they still take it. Say nothing happened and we're intending for something to happen, maybe.
So, Mr. C, this is one question, right?
Yeah.
We are not asking to say, even though we can get to that point, right, to say what you deal with it, or how do you justify, but the fact that when we talk about accountability and transparency, first starting with transparency, tell us, how many people receive it and how much was spent when it comes to that. Why is that difficult? That's number one. No, number two, just put it there. Write it somewhere and put it there, whether we ask you or not. We shouldn't come to ask you. You could have very good reason of using daily subsistence allowance. You could have a very good reason of using your incidental. You could have very good reason for using whatever. But transparency say you should have the information somewhere that we can go and see it. It should be accessible. It should be in the open. And if you did something with it, just tell us what you did and why you did it. And Mr. C added, then correct it. So over and over, we see that people are not transparent. They are not telling us why. So when officials, as I said, when officials travel without accountability, what message does it send to taxpayer? Oh, well, wait for your time so you can eat your own too. And then, so we're proposing if we could have a public travel registry. And in that registry, you will list the cost, the delegates, the outcome of the trip. If we start that, will that help restore confidence in government spending? Because transparency that we talk about here is not just about money. It's about trust. Transparency is not just about numbers. It's about trust. So if that trust is gone, you can get it back. But as we even talk about, I keep in my head, is keep playing back in my head. Why do people not care? Is it because we are waiting our turn to get that same daily subsistence allowance? You think if they keep taking it, you will miss some there? Why is it there is no urgency?
Then is the thing
we're accountable so that we know what we're supposed to know.
Then you are in speech, right? It is already in the budget for the purpose intended that you will take the daily subsistence allowance. You will take the incidental allowance. You will use the money for foreign travel, means of travel. It is there that you will use it. All we are asking now, which is required when it comes to accountability and transparency, is to report that this was placed in the budget for this purpose, and I am using it.
Yeah.
It's like your wife is telling you, yeah, we got the car here for us to use it to go to where we have 2 cars. And she's telling you, I'm taking the truck to work today. Okay, baby, you are fine. That way, you know. And how is that difficult? And that's why I asked the question, why is it that people don't see the need to provide this kind of information when the way the system of government is set up was intended to be that way? For example, the budget says you have the money here for your travel. So you are supposed to use it each travel time. You go there, you take some money there and use it. Tell us that we're using the amount for the travel. But then they cannot tell us. Why? Is it because the fee that was already being set aside for travel, so we don't have to tell the people? Maybe it already in the budget, they know. Dennis, could that be the reason? Could that be the reason?
One reason? But two, because they're stealing it. It's not real. Because if you trust what you're doing, you want people to know.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you have something to hide, you have something to hide because you are not honest with what you are doing. That's why you are hiding it.
And that's the good governance that we're talking about. When you are transparent with the people, then they trust you. They know that you don't have any interior motive. You have every right to use the money in the budget for travel. Now, as I continue to look at the budget, Dennis, what is already astonishing here is that the amounts might be way too much.
Yeah.
And I think that where the president have come to realize that, you know what, I think we're traveling too much, we're spending too much on travel. Let's cut it down. Some of these trips, not necessary. Some of these meetings, we can do Zoom meetings. Some of these meetings, we can even do it on WhatsApp. People can be on a WhatsApp, have teleconference, and actually, have a meeting. Some of these things are meeting, are discussions.
And Mr. C, if you did that, if the president did that, and you are able to show, right, in your report that this is what we've been able to do. Okay, we're using 300,000 on incidental. Now we are using 100,000. These are the things that we cut out. We used to take, our previous government used to take 40%. Now we are taking only 20 or 15.
Exactly.
Show it. But sometimes you don't show it because probably you're thinking that, hey, maybe the time we get jammed, we're going to come back to it. Like in the case of the NSA audit, President Bouaka pronounced that this audit was going to be done. Later, he pulled back. Well, if you pull back, if there's any reason for which you make the U-turn, just tell us. Yeah. Like, hey, when I came, I didn't know. Now I know that this is, you don't inside, you don't know. Yeah. Or something. But you just leave it like, I can't be accountable to these people. I was in a church, right? So I was a leader in the church. I like to support pastors. I've been doing this for a very long time, except the past 3 years. So I told the pastor that, hey, we don't have to publish the full report on how you are spending the money, but at the end of every month, let's just say 3 lines. What came in, what went out, and what is remaining. This entire offering, gives, donation, we got, let's say, 50,000. Then we took up people pay and everything, all our expenditures, we took up 45,000. What is left is 5,000 for the month. I said, let's do that. You know what he told me?
No.
He said, these guys can pay tithes, so I'm not going to tell them anything. In other words, so the attitude that you are not able to report to people that elected you or people that you are leading, number one, it tells me you have no respect for them.
No respect.
This is why, and that's what the pastor told me. He started naming names. He said, look at this guy, look at his tithe record. I'm under no obligation to be accountable to him. When Tubman was criticized by Albert Port, he said, look at you, you don't even pay tithe. I mean, you don't even pay taxes, and you want to talk? So the idea, if you have no respect for the people you are governing, you don't think you are accountable to them. You don't think they should know what you were being paid. I was interviewing a senator and say, how much do you make? And he said, well, go look in the budget or go find it. people can tell how much they make. And there's nowhere you're going to go. People refer us to the budget, which is so vague. It's budget projection. But tell us people's salary, how much they're making. Civil servant, transparency. Government, you want to find out government people's salary, it's there. But for us, we don't know. Let me hear your final thoughts on these travels, and then we move to our last segment and open the lines for callers.
Dennis, the government is not helping us and it's not helping itself. It governs, and it's not just the government, our governments, or our government, over and over, all our leaders, they are not transparent, and it is not helping. It is not helping at all. Because if you are transparent, then there will not be suspicion. Then you are achieving accountability. Now, there is a very important information here, because the other good thing about transparency is that Dennis, it tells us, I think you said it earlier, it tells us whether we are making progress or we're not making progress. It tells us where we're doing good, and the statistics will back it that yes, we have moved the needle here. And let me give you a specific example, which is a plus for the governments, for them to know that we are very fair here, right? So if you look at foreign travel under the President Joseph Yman Boakai, and let me break the numbers for you here. So the incidental allowance line dropped from 74,000 in 2025 to 30,000 in 2026. Then let's pay attention. 74,000 for incidental allowance, a drop to 30,000 in the 2026 budget. You know the difference? That is a 60% reduction. There is good information. It means that now, because of transparency, we know that the government is doing good. It's not spending too much money on incidental allowance. So in other words, between 2025 and 2026, the government of Joseph Yman Boakai was able to reduce incidental allowance by 60%. That is credit to the government. Now, let me give you another one. Means of travel, which is responsible for airfare and transportation, it fell from 380,000 in 2005 to 220,000 in 2006. You know the drop there? It is 42,000 drop. This is a positive.
Incidental allowance. Just to let our people know, when you say incidental allowances, they put special money aside that sometimes when we go somewhere, they think we're not expecting it will happen.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody will be singing and will call the president in, and then the president got to give something. Or maybe somebody will fall down and have a high blood pressure. We have to rush it. So anything can happen when big group like this travel. So let's set money aside to make sure that we cover that when it happens. It's something, anything that you don't plan for that will occur, this is the money for it. So sometimes if that 60% reduction you're talking about can be explained to say right now, anytime we go, we can say our prayer. So unplanned things not happening the way they used to. Or this was a waste and now we have cut it down. Or, God has been blessing us, and so we don't have unforeseen circumstances anymore. They have cut down. Say something. Be transparent. Tell us what's happening. If it is up or if it is down, we want to know. Go ahead, sir.
And then that's it. And there are instances where it will have to go up. For example, the budget of the University of Liberia has been very low. It has been around 28,000, sometimes 30,000. But this year, it gone to 42.9 million. We know the needs that are at the University of Liberia, right? So there's a need. If you tell us that, the University of Liberia budget has increased to 42.5 million, it shows that that transparency you are providing with the numbers in the budget and making the students to know, show that you care about them, All right. You heard their cries. That is governance.
And Mr. CA, the reason this is very important, right? Because if we have 2 million or 3 million increase, if you tell us, because we want to know also that you are not just putting money in the budget because you feel like it is going to something. So you can say, the university had no library, or all along we have not been buying pencils, or our lab has not been equipped. So the extra money is to cover that. This is what don't explain something. It could be on the part of the university or what. Let's know what the increase or decrease is going to cover. The health ministry were at the it was at the or Senate, and they said just call anything.
Yeah.
Say something. So you just gave a figure.
Yeah.
And then we go now to make sure the budget fits that. That's what we used to do during the refugee time when you plan a program. You want to do some padding. You want to even lie about stuff that you used to do.
Exactly. And
right.
in the case,
so if there's increase or decrease, just break things down for transparency.
Break it down and give us the reason. And in the case of the university budget, I'm still looking at, I'm telling you, right? One of the reasons the university budget went, or which is a plus for the government, is that they added 2 million in the 2026 budget to buy new buses for the University of Liberia.
Bingo.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that is a good thing. Now, another thing they did,
so before you continue, so now if we measure, so next year, we want to see those 2 buses.
Exactly. You understand? The students will not be, do the students know that 2 million is in the budget for buses? That means they have that expectation.
Right.
And now the person who is responsible to procure those buses, you understand, now has a responsibility. 2 million in the budget. I now have to come up with a plan. What kind of buses we need that will be durable? Where we will get them, affordable or cheaper. All right. So that the buses can be more because the students are more. We got 2 main campuses.
And who is responsible to report on the progress
of the progress? Would there be progress report where we are?
Yeah.
Has the Ministry of Finance generated the money? Has the money been made available to the controller of the University of Liberia, who is designated to go and buy the buses? Where are we buying these pieces of information, transparency, that governance taking place there? And now another aspect, then we'll go to our final topic here, is that they have money in the budget for renovation. Then the university have buy. It's a national disgrace for us. Yeah. They put 6.3 million in the budget. So now we, the citizens, if we know that there's money in the budget, we say, let's give the government space. They put 6.3 million in the budget for the renovation of the University of Liberia. So at least by the end of 2027, we want to see the university completely renovated. That's transparency. Yeah. It benefits everybody. And it is good for those who are governing more than those who they are serving. Because then we are not suspicious of them. That will be a reason for them to even be re-elected. So transparency served them very well. So Dennis, I ask the question again. They say that they don't understand that transparency is in their interest. It is a sign of respect, or it is the virtue of showing respect to those who govern. You don't understand the importance of it. That will be where I leave it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. And between the headlines, we are discussing accountability and transparency. And we picked 3 issues to highlight that. Number 1, the issues with the Foya Polytechnic. There's a polytechnic being built, or supposed to be built in Foya. It's been in the budget since 2023. But as of today, there is no building. There is nothing there. So whether the money is going, where is the money going? Who is receiving it? And if it is delayed, what happened? How do we know? Also, when it comes to transparency and accountability, foreign travels and public disclosure. The president, ministers, head of agency, public corporation, they're traveling, right? We're supposed to know how much is being spent, who's going on this trip, what they are bringing back. The third one I want us to speak on tonight, as we still talk about transparency, is the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Thomas Fowler, and the Nimbo movement, right? Deputy Speaker Thomas Fowler, who is reportedly traveling and building a political group called the Independent Movement for Boakai, Nimbo. There's a movement supporting the re-election of President Joseph Newman Boakai for 2029. The goal here is not to question President Boakai re-election. Some will say he's old. Why would he think that after 80 years old, that at 85, 86, he still want to rule? But that's another thing. But the Deputy Speaker has organized this group. So that's why we want to talk about, as we talk about transparency and accountability, Deputy Speaker Thomas Fowler and the Nimbo movement. How is the movement funded? Should Thomas Fowler tell us? Is it appropriate for a certain lawmaker to lead a political campaign while serving as Deputy Speaker? Let us not forget the House or the legislature should be a check on the executive. Now, if the legislator is leading a political campaign for the re-election of the president this early, is this appropriate? Can he disclose? And then 3, what is the opportunity cost? He's supposed to be performing his legislative duties, but he's not there. He's in America. He's all over the place, trying to campaign, trying to set up this Nimbo. Why is he not transparent about it? And can we hold him accountable? Mr. C.
Dennis, in Liberia, all of us need to do better. And we need to continue to ask all the questions. We need to hold all of us accountable. Because when we are transparent and when we are accountable, then we will be getting somewhere. This Deputy Speaker, as we speak, there is a drug scandal that is racking the entire nation.
Yeah.
It has been reported speculatively that this thing is close to the presidency. Now, you have the Deputy Speaker, by his constitutional authority and responsibility, who should be checkmating the executive branch at this crucial time. He should be there when the LDEA officials were invited to be asking questions, to represent the people of Foya and the republic that he's Deputy Speaker for, to provide that requisite and robust oversight over the executive branch of government. But now, because he does not understand how accountability works, he is in another branch, and the other branch is supposed to be holding accountable. He's promoting that branch of government, yes, agenda.
Yeah.
He's on a mission to re-elect the president. So how now will he be able to ask that very president he wants to re-elect a question that he should be asking at this time? We feel that Mr. Thomas Fowler has failed accountability. This is a monumental failure. Now, there is Nimbo headquarters. How did Mr. Thomas Fowler get money? He's working. He has been working. So he has money. But this is a political institution that is being funded. Is he the sole funder of this institution? At this time, we are 2 years, about 8 months to election. And what Mr. Father concerns himself with is not the business of the people in the house of politics. He has become a campaigner in chief for the re-election of the president he should be holding accountable. 2 years, 8 months to election. He is in the United States of America, whereas there is noise in the country. He's going from Canada. I mean, he's in the United States now. He will be going to Canada. What happens there does not concern him.
Yeah.
Holding the executive accountable does not concern him. He's not in any standing whatsoever to question the executive branch of government on its duty as the executive branch of government, because he does not understand accountability. He has compromised himself willfully and intentionally for a dividend that he will get at the end of the day. So Mr. Thomas Fowler is serving himself. He has refused to be accountable to the Liberian people. He has refused to be accountable. He feels that he does not hold the people of Liberia any responsibility to hold the executive branch of government accountable. He asks to prove that he does not hold any responsibility to the people of Lofa to check on the executive branch of government, and maybe in his mind, because he and the president from the same county, so that his tribal man, that he county man, so he can't ask any question about how he governs or executes the duties of the executive branch of government. Mr. Thomas Fowler blatantly, willfully, willingly, and knowingly violated every tenet of accountability when it comes to his constitutional responsibility as a legislator to hold the executive branch of government accountable. So this is how Mr. Thomas Fowler has failed. And why he does that, he's not telling us where he's getting the money from to be traveling. It's a personal money he's being used. He's not telling anybody. Now, the fact that the president went to the launch of NIMBLE, and the president is a beneficiary of NIMBLE, whether the president will be passing small thing on our ground to support an agenda that benefits him politically, we do not know. There's no transparency there, my brother. So we are left in the dark again. And I'm sure some people will say that one are not your business. That's what they would say.
And you know, sometimes let's put it on the citizen. Because we've been doing this thing for a while now. We started focus on Liberia 2017, just the eve of the 2017 elections. So for now, you can tell where people have been. And let me use one, Judge Preston Lobo, for instance. We know what he was criticizing. We know at the time that he appears here several times, we know what was wrong. We know what Jefferson Koji was defending, and we know what Jefferson Koji is saying now. We know, you know, so people have been also. So when people look at Thomas Fowler, for instance, the one who was called thief when he was supporting the CDC and the we administration, he was called thief by Unity Party people and their supporters. Now, the same thief, there has been no Come to Jesus movement, but he's the one that is organizing NIMBLE, because he's saying, hey, I'm not part of Unity Party. So all we need to do, or Unity Party, give us the support. We'll campaign for you, and we're going to make Joseph Boakai to succeed himself. And now folks are okay with it because Thomas Fowler's so-called thievery is now benefiting them. That issue in Liberian politics, we will continue to revisit it over and over, whether the citizens are the real problem or the leaders. Why is it that every evil act has to be cheered by somebody because that benefits them, or they perceive that it's going to benefit them? You know, take for instance, you are not in Lofa, you are living in, let's say, Granjide, but because you are Loma or you are Kisi, you are happy for development to go to FOIA than to come. If they were to put up, there's no hand pump in the village you live in Granjira or Riverside. But you will do everything possible so they can have a hand pump in FOIA because you are Kisi. So sometimes it's not benefiting them, but they perceive it's going to benefit them or this group identity. So I'm fine. I heard somebody, he was like adamant. I mean, no minister come from Riverside, or no minister come from Sino, or no minister, as if any minister coming from anywhere benefit you as a person. But because, okay, I am a crew and I come from Grand Crew or Sino, so I want to see Sino president as the Minister of Defense or the Minister of Education. Even though that benefits the president and his family, they're going to steal and they're never going to give you. They're probably never going to build a zinc shack in Sino. But to you, that's some tribal pride. And so you're fine with it. And so citizens continue to support wrong because it's part of the person who is doing that is either from the ethnic group, from their county, or from the political party. Mr. C, I don't know if we'll ever find the answer, but being here for over 7 years now, interviewing people, that the things that they condemned just 2 years ago or 3, 4, 5 years ago, they don't see those things the same way they did before. And that is the sad part. And that's the one that continues to grieve me as I continue to do this job. Let me hear your thoughts and then we bring in our callers.
Dennis, this is not good that people would defend wrong when it's coming from their side, and that they would defend it even if it is black, they would tell us it is white. The George Noble example you gave is the kind of example we should be giving, because Josh was loud when CDC was in power on all of the things that he saw wrong and that we too saw wrong, and that was not proper. But these very things are happening, and Josh is not saying much about them because his party is in power. In fact, I have every reason to believe that Josh is justified. And then is this transparency thing is a key thing. Dennis, do you remember when we had Smith over here, when the CDC released the blueprint of the RIA road project? You remember Smith Tobe telling us that there were even going to be a gas station along the road, resting area for people. I'm sure I'm refreshing your memory, right?
Yeah.
This very platform. And the impression was that that road was going to be completed before election. CDC left power. That road did not go anywhere. There is a video also, your good friend Mambutu Vlayimpa saying that they have secured all the money needed for the construction of the RIA road project. One of the reasons the project is not completed today is because our government is yet to collect or raise or secure all the fundings for that road project. Now, the later they collected, it went into corruption. Now, can the Unity Party criticize itself right now about this particular road project? The Unity Party have been in power now for 3 years now. They've been trying to do this road. They can't get this road done. The road at some point stopped for over 1 year. The contractors were accused of corruption. From the government side, they were accused of corruption. I mean, even the very government officials got angry. Dennis, it is so because there's no transparency. How much money was released? To whom was the money given? Who is the contractor? Who hired that contractor? Was the money intended for the contractor given to the contractor and the contractor did not do the work? Because the contractor will always tell you this is the amount we need. And the one who received the money, who's supposed to turn the money over to the contractor, so now he can't to the contractor and say, my man, you got to buy with this. And the contractor knows that he can't work with that. He takes it now, he tries to look for cheap labor. And the cheap labor man, now, as we speak, road construction contractors in Maryland County are protesting. Then they block the road. They said they have not been paid for 10 months. And this road is one of the roads the government is working on. This is one of the roads that is in their trumpet. And then the people who doing the work have not been paid for 10 months. And the people got angry, they blocked the road. Can the government bring transparency to the issue? Because the issue of the RIA road as we speak, there's no transparency. The government is here to bring transparency to it. What happened for which the road stopped? Who did what, how, and to what extent? And there was no accountability. If somebody did something wrong for that person to be held accountable, nothing whatsoever. And so the lack of accountability is what's stalling our development, our progress, and that is why we continue to remain where we are in terms of government. That's why we are on this slow pace. And the other part is that this is how we show disrespect to ourselves by not being transparent. The leaders especially do that. Thomas Fala, you don't care what the people of Foya will say what are my people, man. You know, if I'm not there, no problem. After all, right. I'm on a mission to elect my other Lofa brother, President Bwaka, so they will understand.
And whatever I'll get, I will give it to them. Even though they will not get anything.
Get to them, yeah.
They will not get anything. There were people that were killed in Foya during the election. Up to now, they die in vain. There's no accountability. There's nobody brought to justice. Nothing. Yeah. But in that, we still believe that this person, I'm Grebo, is Grebo, so whatever he does is going to benefit me. And that is really killing him. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are here and you want to be a part, please call. We have just 10 more minutes to close. Make it 15 if we have callers. 605-313-6004. The code is 791403#. We are discussing accountability and transparency. We talk about the Foya Polytechnic, foreign travels, and Deputy Speaker Thomas Fala and the Nimbo movement. Can we have people be accountable? Can they be transparent? Can we have a government? Can we have leaders that are both transparent and accountable? And if they don't, can the citizens, the people that have been abused, the people that have been cheated, the people that have been lied to, the people that have been denying basic amenities, can they stand up and say, tell us what you're doing with our money? Or, you know, because we are from the same party or the same ethnic group or the same town, or we are in the same society, so I will just let it pass. Or let me keep this system intact so that tomorrow, when I get there, I can exploit the same loopholes. I can steal from the same pot. If I raise a land now, when the time reaches, I wouldn't be able to get those things. And then people will say, oh, you want to tell me this job Thomas Fala was doing, and he was building university, doing this, that is the same job you're doing, and you don't have anything? You want to tell me this job when Samuel Tua was doing, he was XYZ, that what you're doing? So because of that, let me close my mouth. So when my time comes, I will steal and nobody's going to talk. Please give us a call, 605. That's the numbers on the screen. And let us hear from you. And if you think everything that we have said is complete nonsense, nobody has to be accountable, and nobody has to be transparent, please, they will give us a call. Let's hear from you.
Dennis, and this is where I land and close, right? Because we have done justice to the two topics, accountability and transparency. And we have, intertwined it with three topics to make it crystal clear for our audience to understand as we try to provide enlightenment education, as we do the discussion. Accountability. The people of Liberia, we need to demand accountability. Because our history has shown very loudly that our leaders will not hold themselves accountable. They were not governed with accountability. And so we, the people, have a responsibility. And if we fail to hold them accountable, we are failing ourselves. We are failing the republic, just as our leaders are failing us and the republic. And the failure on our part will be much more consequential in a negative way than when our leaders fail to hold themselves accountable. Because it's human tendency when you do wrong for you to tell yourself, I have wrong. I have done something terrible. I will not do it again. You just give yourself a pass. Only someone can really challenge you, can really tell you in your face that you've done something very wrong, and it will be good that you don't do it again. If we, the people, continue to tread this path, or not holding ourselves, holding our leaders accountable, including ourselves, holding ourselves accountable is what you and myself doing now. We have a responsibility to discuss what accountability is. We don't want to discuss it. We don't want to hold our leaders accountable, even when we do the call of names. Another good example you give is that the people in the political parties, it has always been CDC, Unity Party for the most part, controlling our government and governing our country. When they are in power, they don't hold the leaders who are leading them accountable. They shut their mouths, even when they see the wrong. As we speak today with the drug scandal that is in our country, there are some Unity Party people that are trying to speak against the way the case is being handled. Some of their brothers and sisters or their policy telling them, what are you doing? No, you shouldn't talk. You got to fall in line. You're not disciplined. During CDC time, they used to say you have to be party disciplined. When the party is making mistakes, you who part of the party, you shouldn't say it. You should not hold your leaders accountable. You should fall in line. You should be quiet. It will just pass. And this is where we as a people fail. And that failure, we are failing our country. We are much more part of the problem than our leaders. Because if the people put their foot down, as in the case of the University of Liberia, if the citizen, including the students, said, no, this school, no one should go to this school because this school is a shame. People sitting practically on the ground, the chalkbooks are bad, the roofs are leaking, the buildings now painted. Look at this thing. Is this a place for children to go to school? We can shame our government as a people and say that university is a national disgrace until the nation, the government can paint that university, renovate it. No student should not go in that building. That will send out a profound message. Until the lawmakers can reduce their salary, we the citizens will not allow them to enter that building to go to work. And if they don't go to work, they will not pay. Any government or finance minister that give them salary will go to the president and will tell the president to fire that finance minister. We have a role to play. And we treat it casually as we have done. I mean, we should accept all the disappointment with electricity, with roads, crumbling schools, bad healthcare that's killing people, children sitting in the streets, drugs taking out people. We're talking about drugs today that's been declared national emergency. And this is the major drugs case. The government has not given up this, and it's reported that on the 8th of June, today the 17th, that's about what? Over 8 days.
Yeah.
No update. The president came, he gave a lecture. His statement was empty. You're a fufu play with no fufu in it. And we, the citizen, now we are divided. Unity Party people praising the pape for talking tough. He talked tough with empty words with nothing in it. What we need now is action. The LDEA said, look, we have 6 persons who we have in our custody. According to them, they even arrested them, but we're not going to release their names. The president came and said the same thing. The justice minister came and said the same thing. So how many days do you need now to carry on investigation before you can give her any update? Now they're telling us that they send some of the people outside of the country. The thing happened in Liberia. That in Europe you will go tell us. The next day, the people got to be serious here. And we the citizens now, we just right there. We just waiting. We are the valley.
They say it's international crime, so they have to go somewhere. and that's why I didn't want to go too much in the reparation stories, right?
Yeah.
It's like the first group that you're supposed to give reparation to, the first people that you have to even tell sorry. Since the Liberian War finished, those of us who lost parents, nobody ever told us sorry. People are defiant. In fact, for some senators, if it's talking the way I say George Bulley killed my father, they will go and you say, I will sue you for defamation. And you want reparation from white men who still want to keep their foot on our throat. You are in Liberia, and you say, okay, but Mr. C, when they catch those little boys that take drugs to be digging gold in a gold mine, they grab them, they cuff them, they put them in the back of the pickup. But then when you have millions of dollars of the big dog, the big smugglers, and nothing we hear. But let's come to the president's statement. Will we say, though, that that's a form of transparency and accountability? He's saying, hey, there will be zero tolerance. There will be no untouchable. There will be no this, no that. Will you give the president credit that that's bold? Or is it just big smoke, no fire?
Big smoke, no fire, empty talk, a performance, a showmanship, a cover-up, a waste of time, a bluff, complete nothingness. And yes, why? What? The president declared drugs a national emergency in the country. Today, the very LDEA that cannot tell us the names of the 6 persons it said it has in its custody today arrested over 12 young people just from smoking weed and doing other things. They grabbed them up, they threw them in the pickup truck, and they took them away. We saw them. Then the people who are bringing the thing in the country and shipping it out of the country in huge quantity, you claim that you have them, then you can't show their names. So are they better human beings than the future leaders that you are arresting and throwing in pickups? And this president came and had nothing to offer. His statement was a waste of time. And he left today and went to Ghana to go talk about Black people were enslaved some 100 years ago. I'm going there to see how we can get money for them.
Yeah.
What is that? Showmanship. The only reason the president is there is that he will get paid down for the travel. That's all. Nothing else. Your horse is on fire. Drugs are killing the young people. And you have to go talk about reparation. This is the very president that said, well, some of these meetings we got to do it through Zoom. Some of these conferences we can attend virtually. Why he couldn't attend virtually since he has crisis in this town?
Yeah.
Why he couldn't send maybe the foreign minister to go there and represent him? He has to leave. When an issue he declared national emergency is causing havoc in the country. But the Papa got to get a pedant, a travel pedant. And it's expected that he's supposed to give a speech because Liberia historically is one of the countries that took Black people from and to America to enslave. So he must be there. The ones that are alive now, whose future have been threatened, that is not a priority right now. That is the people, we the people. It is not like we are against our leaders, but we should demand from our leaders to serve us well, to be transparent and accountable. Because when our leaders do so, it will benefit themselves. The very leader, it will benefit them. It will mean that they are doing very good work. I just commended the government for reducing the incidental allowance by 60% and the foreign travel by 42%, because I'm able to research the information I saw it. I just commended the government for increasing the university budget to 42.5 million by giving the university 6.3 million to renovate the university. That's transparency. I commended the government. So in the CV, I'm criticizing the government and holding the government accountable and demanding transparency and accountability. It is good for our society. And just it, Dennis, nothing else, nothing personal. I rest it.
Thank you, Mr. CA. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show discuss these things, because who else and how else can we discuss political events without the man who has established himself as the fiercest political bulldog, and now the political analyst, and the one and only political analyst that Liberia would ever know, or in generations to come. The man who analysis is taking the whole country by storm. Thank you, Mr. CA, for the time. I want to also thank our viewers for watching. Always focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Our mission is to be able to, create an informed Liberian society that attracts the world. We never close a broadcast without playing our song that says we are all Liberians. And that's the song that's going to be taking us home. Have a good night and God bless you.
We are Liberians.